Hey, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy burstzgyt back here, and today I'm back for another video talking about Marvel's Avengers. Now, if you didn't already know, Marvel's Avengers recently released a new blog detailing what's the wartable changes are, and honestly, I'll say it right now off the bat, as a end game player, I don't see as much benefit from it for myself. It's obviously more aimed at new players who are coming into the game or have kind of been in the game for a little bit but don't really know what to do, which they do mention at the near the end of it a little bit. So I can see how it's going to go there, along with the fact that they are trying to add a way, I believe, for you to get to 175 by soloing without having to worry about doing, certain multiplayer things. You know what I mean? So it definitely is going to be more aimed at that specific player base, which I understand, but I am curious to see how they kind of mesh that forward with, end game players as well. So I won't be detailing every little thing. I'll kind of go over each section a little quick. I'm sure that there are other content creators who have dove deeply into this and talked about everything word for word and whatnot. I'm just going to give my thoughts as we go. So here we go. Now, the first thing that we're talking about is drop zones, threat sectors, and hives. And pretty much really all that's there is you're going to be restricted to certain regions until you get to a higher power level. And the future wastelands and Wakanda ones, because it's topped off at 100 to 140, I'm curious to see how that goes, because I know that when you play the story, at least, especially for the War for Wakanda stuff, at least in the final boss fight, I'm not sure if it's just scaled off the difficulty entirely, but I remember when I played it, of course, as me having a 140 character already, it wasn't that difficult, but I know that if you're not already 140 by that boss fight, it might be a little bit difficult for you. So I'm curious to see how that'll play into also playing the story if you're doing that simultaneously. Villain sectors. Now, this is the one I think that kind of gets people a little, happy about it, because it's like you don't have to worry about going to factions and hoping for certain things to be there every day. It seems like they'll just be there from what it sounds like. I have to see it to believe it, because it does say they rotate daily, and elite villain sectors rotate weekly. So I'm just curious to see what that means. If it actually will be the same ones every day or what? Because quite frankly, I don't see the need for them to change. They should just all be there. And if the elites want to change, that's fine. But you should be able to play the boss whenever you want to, regardless if you're doing it for grinding or not. The vaults, this one is a little bit iffy for me. One, I think the fact that you don't need to go to bunkers to get the coordinates for the vaults, that's good. It's can be a little tedious trying to do it, and it was based on RNG. It currently is until the change happens. So doing that 4 or 5 times and not getting the coordinate you need can be a little annoying. So that's a good change. However, I do wonder what makes going to a bunker intriguing. What's going to make me go to a bunker now if there's no coordinates there? Because that's usually what most people go for. Some people try to do the ISO farming, still RNG, of course. So I'm curious to see if they make any changes to that, whether or not it's certain gear drops. I know that there's gear changes coming. We'll just have to see how that all works integrated into these updates. But yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts on there. Harm roams, it's basically just certain ones will be locked, power levels, all that stuff. Other changes. This is the one that kind of bothers me a bit, kind of grinds my gears. Other changes. Flashback missions that ended with a boss fight have been replaced with Wasteland and Wakanda threat sectors. Now, let me tell you why it grinds my gears. I put in a feedback section on the Avengers Discord last month that I think we should have more flashback missions from the campaign. And the reason being is just the current lack of villain sectors in the actual war zones. We have Taskmaster, Abomination, Claw. Well, I guess if you count the raid, that's a villain encounter, but we have Tame a Titan and the other one, which is the warship and all that stuff. So it's very limited, right? Now, if you take into account the stories, War for Wakanda, they have a dual boss fight that never has seen the day of light as a villain sector, and probably never will from the way it seems like. But my suggestion basically was to say, give us more of those. Give us more options to play some story missions that have those villain encounters, so we can at least feel like we're getting something. Because you can play Bad Blood, which is essentially a villain sector for Taskmaster, just in a different area, and you can get a hero set piece. That's a legendary version, I believe. So why take that away? I'm not really sure. Because as fun as it is to, like, I guess, play the raid, it gets kind of boring, right? Eventually you want to do something else for the sake of doing it. And taking that away is kind of strange, unless they do plan to add those villain sectors in. We are getting into we're getting into month 4, so I don't know how much they're going to be able to squeeze in for the rest of the year, but they definitely need to do more than just the same villain, because as I go down into this next part of the list, they're going to talk about new missions, which is a new threat sector in Snowy Tundra, a new drop zone in Future Wastelands, another new drop zone. By the way, I'm just going to say drop zones. I mean, in the Future Wasteland, the drop zone there or threat sector was kind of long. I'm not sure how long the drop zone would be. You know, it's like, is it worth my time to really go in there and do the drop zone unless I'm doing it for like mission chains to get quick enemies done? Not sure. We'll have to see. They're going to do another threat sector in the Future Wastelands. They're doing more vaults, wastelands, and this is basically all stuff that was supposed to come out a long time ago. This is not new information in terms of all of what I'm going over. We've been waiting to see what else gets added to Future Wastelands for the region. Obviously, we know about the cut villain sectors, which ties into my next point. Illusion of Truth and Unthinkable, Elite Taskmaster Villain Sector, Future Wastelands. I believe this was one of the cut versions. We've known that there was a cut villain sector, if not 2, because back on the wartable preview, they showed 4 villain sectors and we only got 2 of them. So you can only assume one of those was definitely supposed to be Taskmaster, and the other one could have been a warbot, warship for all we knew, or another Taskmaster, elite version or something, or regular version, whatever. But yeah, that's what we're getting for new missions there, and you know, that's coming on the 24th. I'm interested to see what they do beyond that. That's not tied to any of the past content we've gotten. But of course, we're just gonna have to be a little bit more patient. And of course, they've got the Avengers Initiative onboarding rework. That's Nick Fury basically jumping in, and he's going to be guiding new players. You can catch up with him as a endgame player too. If you've already done kind of all your other stuff, you can kind of speak to him, see what he's been up to, I guess. And I'm not sure how he's going to drive the story forward. And I'm quite frankly considering like looking at that from a new player standpoint. Like he's there and then he's not there, right? Because he's supposed to disappear. So I'm not sure how that meshes with the story, if that makes sense, but it is what it is. We'll see how it goes. And then the last part of this is just basically going over quest mission chain or onboarding rework, and it's just a lot of this has been moved to you unlock it when you reach a certain power level. So you can see it there on the screen. I put all the images there, but in essence, again, this is more of a push for new players to be able to have a ground truth understanding of what to do, how to climb the ladder, how to get to how to get to power level 175 currently through the multiplayer version. Whenever they release a single player version, I'm sure that they'll update this and make it more solidified so you understand. And yeah, but you've kind of heard my little concerns there with it, and I'm curious to see how it all comes together with the gear changes and all, because we're only seeing it through text and we haven't seen it through actual gameplay. I hope everything comes in for the most part, you know, bug free. It's not impossible for a bug to be there, so if it is, it is. But let's hope that this sets the game forward a little bit, makes they're doing their stability changes and whatnot. Let's hope that whatever they're doing, it's for the future of the game and to keep it stable, to keep it going, and that's it. But yeah, let me know down in the comments. What did you guys think? Are you guys hoping that this is worth your time? And yeah, I know a lot of you are worried about that roadmap. I know. The only thing I can really tell you and really get you in the mindset of is you're just going to have to wait soon, quote unquote, trademarked. Sorry. But yeah, there's really nothing anybody can tell you about a roadmap until they decide to talk about it. And luckily enough, this update is coming on the 24th. So that leaves us one more Thursday before the next month. So there's no Square Enix Presents to our knowledge. I haven't seen anything, and they've kind of already shown other Square Enix games, you know. So yeah, we're kind of just not, I don't want to say SOL, but we're waiting. So all I'm going to advise you to do, guys, is if you are not really interested in the game right now, just play something else. Just trust me. It'll take your mind off and you'll feel so much better. Go play something else. I've been playing Destiny with the boys, you know, High Ruler, Stardust, all of them. It's been pretty fun. All right. Try something new. That's all I'm going to say. Hope you guys enjoy your weekend. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.